Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you're doing well. And yeah, this is gonna be the last day of the n8n series. It's been a really action-packed, fun week. Lots of cool demos and presentation in the past few days, from building your first AI agent to using n8n to automate content production, SEO, the way you analyze your ads. And today we have our last guest of this series, which is Tanner Woodrum. He's one of the top creators in the n8n community. And today we're going to shift our focus from, content creation and SEO and ads and focus more on the foundations of marketing, which is how can you understand more your personas, your ICP. So he's going to share lots of tips and tricks around how you can use n8n to automate the way you conduct research. Tanner, man, thanks for joining.
Welcome in, everybody. Glad to be here. And yeah, we'll jump right in. Today, we're going to be doing a lot about research and ICP discovery. Now, this is, kind of like Tariq mentioned, this is one of the most important pieces of a business because whenever you are developing your strategy to, market to people or to do sales campaigns, you need to be able to understand who they are, what their background is. You need to do some research on the company. And a lot of times that looks like manually going, looking them up on the internet, looking at their website, scrolling through some of the reviews, scrolling through, their about page and all these different things. And it can get a little bit, obviously, time consuming and cumbersome to be able to do that for the vast majority of the magnitude that you need, right? Because, the name of the game of marketing and sales is volume. And so with n8n, we're able to streamline that process, and we'll be going through that today. And yeah, a little bit about me. Tanner Woodrum, founder of Ghost Coded. I do a lot of n8n automation and agents and software. So I do this every single day, and I love talking about it. Um, all right, so let's jump right into the demo then. So right here, um, this is the ICP research and discovery bulk um, workflow that I like to call it. Okay. Now, at a high overview, there are, I'm sure you guys have listened to and heard a lot about just the architecture in n8n and automation in general. But the way that I like to explain it is when you have these automations, there's really three different sections that you have to think about in order to make this work. You have what are your inputs? Where are you getting your data? How are you going to process that data? And what do the outputs look like? All right. And so if I come here and if I kind of write that down, right? So you have three little steps. You got your inputs, your outputs, and we'll zoom in here just a little bit. Inputs, your output or your inputs, processes, and your outputs. So the reason I like to break it down in these three categories is because whenever you're designing a system to be able to do research and discovery, you have to first say, okay, where where do my clients reside? Like where question you should ask yourself is like, where is their data? So for example, in this given use case, I'm playing myself as a dental software provider, right? So my company, I am a dental software provider. We just built out a cutting edge of dental software. We want to go and get it to as many dentists as we can. We are also located obviously in the Silicon Valley, and so we're in San Francisco, hoping to find some local people to, get to know, have them beta test it, do some demos, and all that. So for me, the best source of this data would be Google Maps. Okay. And that's probably going to be for a lot of you guys, a lot of people, the best source of data is Google Maps because if you're doing a B2B, then you can understand very quickly who your customer is, their reviews, their website, their phone number, their email, the whole nine yards. You can get a lot of that data out of the gate, right? So for this instance, we're going to say my data is on um, Google Maps, right? Let's make this a little bit bigger. So far I have my inputs. My input's going to be Google Maps, right? Then how am I going to process, like, what do I need to do? So if I understand, if I'm looking at this from an automation perspective, um, I can receive that information, so I can get just their like if you think of a Google profile, like if you go to Google Maps and look at a business profile, like we'll go over here. Oops, opened way too many tabs. If we go to Google Maps, if we look up, you know, dentists in San Francisco, right here, and then we can get a couple things, right? We click on this and you can get a little bit of information like their address, their website, their phone number, maybe they have their email, and they have a couple of different things here. But this is good because you get their a little bit of the contact information, but you don't understand, you don't discover who they are or like what their values are, like if there's an about page, who they're targeting. And so when you're wanting to do these outbound campaigns, or if you're doing social media campaigns, you need to understand who they are, and the best place to find that is their website. So for me, the next step of the process would be, okay, I need to find their website, and then the technical term is scrape it, right? So scrape the website or the information I'm looking for, right? And what this will do is because a business, they are going to put everything about them, everything that they do, everything that they care about on their website. That's kind of their landing page. That is who they are, bread and butter. So that's your best place to go to find the initial discovery layer of your ICP. Okay. Um, so I know I need to go and find and scrape their website, because here in this Google Maps, I will be able to receive, I'll get their website here as an input. But the process, I need to actually go scrape it. I need to go find it. Okay. And so this process would be using, um, I'll need to either build or buy a solution. So if you work in the automation software space, you'll know this term of build versus buy. So, like, hey, do I take the time to build a custom solution? Then I can take the website URL and go and send it, and scrape the information through a custom scraper, and you're gonna have to dodge a lot of security things and bots, protection walls, etc. Um, and so that'd be really nice because maybe you don't have to pay so much, right? Or you don't have to pay for a solution. Um, but typically, when it comes to n8n, there's always going to be an automation node or a integration that will allow you to do this very quickly. And that's what I opted to do. So I opted to go with a solution called Brave API. This is a web scraping tool that a lot of your LLMs use, like OpenAI, or not Gemini, but OpenAI, Claude. They'll be using this API to, whenever you ask a question um, in your LLM chat window, it will use this underneath the hood to go and research the internet. Okay. So we have our inputs, we have our Google Maps is what we're going to get our data. Brave API is going to help us scrape the company website. Okay. And then we're also going to need to store this information. And n8n has a very cool tool called a data table. I don't know if you guys have discovered this or talked about this in previous sessions, but if we go to our dashboard, you have workflows, credentials, executions, variables, and then data tables. If you go to data tables, this is essentially n8n's proprietary Excel spreadsheet. So you can come in here, create a data table, and we'll just put this as test, and you can create it, and then it looks like an Excel spreadsheet. And you can come in here and add a column. You put your first name, and then we can do last name, and then we can do has been contacted. And then we can change it to be Boolean, which is true or false. Perfect. Then we come in here and we can create Tanner, Woodrum, and they have not been contacted today. So anyway, so in our process, we need to understand that we need a place to, once we extract the leads from a source, in our case, it's Google Maps, we need to put that somewhere. So one of the processes is put the data somewhere, and that data can be quickly stored and reliably stored in n8n itself. You don't have to go anywhere else for this. And then once we search their website and gather information off of it. Then we're able to take that and store it also in a separate table to then be able to have that as another source of data and a source of truth for what we're looking for. Because in my demo, I'm going to show you what it looks like to build a linear workflow that will be building like, hey, from step one to step X, this is how it's going to work. But then after, we're going to be looking at how we can include that in an agentic system to where you can have it basically managing your outbound, your content research, your ICP research as well. Real quick, I don't know if there was a question or not, Tariq, or if there was a chat thing.
There is one question and one actually just not question but remark that uh, an idea occurred to me. We can actually scrape G2 to see the negative feedback comments on competitors' products and send an outreach to these people. I don't know. I haven't scraped G2 before. Maybe this is a bad idea. I think it's a very good idea.
No, that's a fantastic idea. I actually, it's funny you mentioned that. I was thinking about what I could do and what process that I was showing. That was actually one of my ideas that I was going to do is, and that's a great thought because exactly. So essentially, what you can do is you can scrape anything. Okay, so let's put that G2. So let's say you have a competitor. Let's say you're in the dental software space and you are going up against a massive dental software. There's no way you're going to beat them out. You don't want to beat them out. You just want to take the people who are unhappy with them. So what you do is you go to G2, you go to some review, Trustpilot, whatever it is, scrape the negative, so like the 2 stars and below, 2 and 1 stars. You scrape those reviews, grab the contact information of that person, and then you build a campaign to say, hey, I was doing some research on X, Y, and Z company, and we saw you didn't have a great experience with them. We solve all their problems. Boom, close the deal. You're good, right? So yeah, G2 is a great place, and that's the same mentality. So you can scrape these locations depending on your situation of how you want to approach your ICP research and discovery.
Nice.
Great
And there's
concept.
also one question, which is what n8n license do you use? Is it self-hosted or?
Yeah. So I self-host this on my computer. I'm using a Mac. Um, I find that it is obviously it's free. It's the most reliable and most customizable because I also run some local LLMs, some local AI, and so I can easily hook up to it. And a small side note that's kind of just fun: if you're on a Mac and you self-host your n8n, you can actually easily. I've actually built a system where you can send and receive iMessages and SMS messages for free using n8n and a system with that. So, yeah, self-hosted is definitely what I use. That's the way to go, in my opinion.
Hubert says like he hosted n8n, but the address is localhost. How did you do it with the domain?
Great question. Yeah, so you can notice here, there's n8n ghostcoder.com. If I actually go here, this is my local host. So same thing, but one has a domain and the other. So I actually held off for a long time to self-host on my computer because of that same thing. I wanted, because like Gmail or some other, a lot of services, you need to have like a redirect, and you can't always redirect to your local host. And so I figured out that you can actually just tunnel. So instead of like opening up a port on your computer and exposing it, which is a big security risk, I actually just use a Cloudflare tunnel that, because I have my domain from Cloudflare. And so I built a Cloudflare tunnel that just literally ports my domain, my n8n.ghostcoder.com to my computer's internal port. And I know that you can do it with ngrok as well. Ngrok is another really solid solution to allow for you to have a domain on your local instance.
Oh, awesome, man.
Good
No,
question.
no further questions.
Perfect. All right, we'll keep going then. Um, let's see. All right, so we were talking about data tables. We're talking about um, the process of where are we getting our information. We have store information because whenever you're scraping data, whenever you're getting data, you have to find a way to store it effectively, so that you can recall it. Because I preach this all the time: AI is the currency of today, or sorry, data is the currency of today because of AI. If you own your data, you can run your own processes and LLM operations, to be able to extract information, do your own research, and that is where the power is these days. Because um, when we get all this massive amount of data from scraping and the G2, if you want it to be, you're gonna have so much data that you're not gonna be able to really like look at it yourself and analyze it. So that's why we can give it to an LLM in the future once we show you here, to where you can then ask questions about it. Or there's a use case of like, hey, I'm about to hop on a sales call with this person. Can you give me a rundown or some talking points that I can have to kind of break the ice? So I'll show you that in a second. We'll get back to this. So we have inputs, we have processes, we have store the information, and then outputs. This is obviously like, are we going to um, create and send emails um, or slash SMS slash iMessage? Um, then let's see, are we going to, we're going to upload it to a third party CRM? There's a whole lot of things you can do. Like what do you want to do with the data now that you have it after this like workflow runs, right? So that's kind of you gotta just think about. So for this instance, we're gonna be drafting an initial outreach email, and then I should have it actually just building it out so we can look at it. But you could have it send it through SendGrid, Twilio, or Mailtrap, whatever platform you're using, or just send it out via. We can literally just come here and do a Gmail and just send it via Gmail. So we'll walk through all those. Okay. So yes, let's actually dive into the meat and potatoes of this workflow. So when it came to Google Maps, again, I had the choice, I had the decision making. Am I going to build or buy a scraper to get information from Google Maps? And I opted to buy. Now, a really good platform, if you're not already familiar with, is Appify. Appify has literally anything under the sun when it comes to scraping data. And it's literally just a store that you can go to and pick whatever you want to be able to, like I just said, hey, I'm looking for a Google Map scraper. Boom. Google Map scraper, you have reviews, you can see how many people are using it. So I can say, hey, this one's a really credible one. It's highly rated, and it's also very inexpensive. $4 for 1,000 scraped places, right? So I'm gonna pay $4 for 1,000 potential leads. Um, and in here, you know, you can kind of do your own research of what it looks like to integrate or have your favorite LLM of choice instruct you on how to do it. But essentially, it's an API like storefront. Essentially, you can go and buy these APIs that are pre-done for you, and you know you can see that you can put a couple search terms and location, how many places you want to extract per time. You can put as many, like literally, you can put so many filters on this where you can really dial in on your ICP, and even like let's say your ICP is, hey, I only want to work with 5-star, um, I only want to work with 5-star restaurants, and so you would want to go in there and say, hey, I only want to bring back the ones that have 5 stars. And you can either do that here or you can actually do it in n8n. Either one will work. But the idea is you need to get it from somewhere, and Appify is a great place. So in my workflow, um, they actually have an Appify node. And so you come here and you set up your credentials, which is just an API key. And then I have it set to be a run the actor and get data set, because that just, it'll run it and it'll wait until we have the data is returned. Um, and then you set what actor you're actually running, and then you need to put in the actual search parameters. Okay. And so for in this instance, I'm doing dentist in San Francisco, California, and I want to only grab 30 locations, right? Or 30 places, which is actually like pages on there. So you'll see I actually received, from those 30, I received 320 candidates. Right. So in this workflow, I have it to where it will send my search parameter, my search query, and it will return the the information of the company. And so you can see here a little bit of what they return is like, hey, what's the title of the company? There's a category, there's an address, there's even down to a neighborhood, street, whole 9 yards. You have total score for like their ratings, all of their categories. Then you have even opening hours. There's a lot of data that they grab for you, um, et cetera, right? So this is a lot of just raw data. The thing that we really care about, at least in my use case, is all I really care about is that website right there. Because I know if I have their website, I can do research on them. I can do discovery on them, right? So what I do is first thing I do is I use a little bit of code because in an n8n, I don't know if you guys have discovered this with in previous cases, but you can actually run code in your n8n workflows to kind of optimize the process to where instead of this might take 3 or 4 hand put nodes, you can actually just come in here and write some custom JavaScript. And it's like this is a function, and then it will kind of parse this raw JSON into a format that is nice and pretty for me to be able to insert into my data table. Like for instance, if you look over here, there's like these little kind of like subcategories that doesn't play nicely whenever you're trying to store it as a string in a data table. And so what this is doing is looking at your categories. It just breaks it into a nice little list showing you all them. Because to an LLM, to an AI, if it sees this, it can tell you, hey, I can be like, hey, what are all my categories? Or can you find all my leads that are cosmetic dentists? And then it can go here and it can find the categories in this location. So you never want to throw away data just because you don't think you can store it. Find a way to store all the data that you scrape because in any format, you will be able to do research and deep dive discovery based off of all the information that you're getting from, right? Because I mean, heck, down the road, you could even say, I want to find, I only want to talk about the leads, the potential leads that are in the zip code 94180 or 94108. And then it'll only pull that information back. So you can get pretty nitty gritty here, but this information is very powerful. But yeah, alas, the point of this was we're normalizing that data to then be able to store it in our data table. And also, whenever you normalize it, you can make it very easy for the n8n to map automatically to where you can just say map automatically and it'll just pump it all in there. And that data looks like this. Again, looks very similar to an Excel spreadsheet, but it will give you a search string, what's the title, category name, categories, address, neighborhood, street, the whole shebang, even down to the website. Okay. Um, Sweet. So we just accomplished the first bit. This is kind of like our input, right? So we just got our inputs. Okay. Now, just for cost savings, I just filtered out the top 10. I just wanted to grab the top 10, so I wasn't running this operation on all 320. You can also do loops, but for me, I just said, hey, just grab me the top 10 so I can look at this. So then now we're in part 2. So now we're in the process phase. So this is Brave API. If you go here, this is what it looks like. They have a generous $5 a month for 1,000 requests whenever you sign up. And so you don't have to pay for up to $5. Um, you have $5 of credits. So I'm trying to say $5 of credits every month for you to be able to play with this and to test around. And again, the purpose of this buy situation was now that I have the website, I need to get that scraped. Really quick, I think I'm just seeing a couple things pop up, Tariq. Um,
Yeah, all good. I'm just sharing the links of Brave.
Perfect.
Every tool you're mentioning, I'm putting the links in the chat. And also, Michelle
Beautiful, beautiful.
said she's loving this webinar. So
Ah, I'm glad.
yeah,
I'm glad to hear. Okay, so with Brave, how this works is very simple. I like this is another reason why build versus buy. 99% of the time, you're going to want to buy when it comes to these like smaller tasks because literally all you do is you take this website wherever it's over here, grab it, drag it in. I already did it, but that's all you need. You just need a query. Just what's the query? Just give me I just want their website, and that's it. Once you have that website, um, Brave will go and do a web search for you, and it will pull back. It will pull back 10 results, top 10 results, and then it will summarize it for you. So right here, you can see that this will give you like a little info box of like what's the top results. It'll give you this isn't really relevant. But then the web search, so this is actually the web search. It'll give you the top results right here. So it'll show you the profile. It'll show you a little bit of meta information and also some snippets of like who they are. Okay, so like right here, we love welcoming new patients to our practice, and to say thank you, we are offering a special price on our new patient visits. Come in today and receive 463 off an exam, x-rays, and cleaning. We also offer complimentary consultations and second opinions. So the like this right now, we now know that they have a special offer. So I don't know what the use case would be, but let's say we're trying to sell. We are a dental consultant, and we want to help dentists improve their offers or like their lead magnets to get more people in the door. And what a better way to say or to do some research on this company than saying, "Hey, I saw that you are doing an offer for $463." And you can ask some specific questions like, "Hey, do you know what your profit margin is on that? Are you taking too much of a cut? Are you losing money on that? How can we make that more optimized?" And so just this information that you're getting about the company is already going to be beneficial to you and your efforts in outbound and discovery and understanding of where they're at. Um, yeah, so this is all great stuff. But look how much data this is. That is a lot of data, which is great. We like data because the more data you have, the better your chances of understanding and having more personalized and personable and customized outbound solution will be. That being said, in my brain, I know, okay, I don't know what to do with all this. So we're going to normalize it again. Now, this normalizing step is another JavaScript little code base, but essentially what it is doing, it is compiling these, mainly this web search right here. Because look how many results there are. I'm sorry, go over to results, drop it down right here. There's all these results that we want to get. And so we need to make sure that we grab all of these and compile them into a easy to consume string for our LLM, right? And so you're going to want to have some sort of processing. They'll take that and pump it out. And so what it looks like here is it compiled key URLs. So it shows you like, hey, here's the contact page. Here's the about page. Here is other notable ones like, I don't know, whatever these are. But this will kind of give you some key URLs to look at in the future. There's service signals of like what they offer. And they also throw in some of those extra snippets that I was showing you. And then it'll actually just write up an entire note section, compiling everything from that data search of this is everything we know about this company. Okay. And then if they do have a decision maker on there, their email or title, it'll also put that. I also, in my building of this workflow and this system, really that's what it is, this is essentially going to be my CRM, right? And so you can build a very lightweight CRM to play with in n8n. Because what you're going to see is um, this information all comes from the company, but then we also want to be able to track other metrics like uh, the stage that they're in. Have we contacted them? Have we reached out to them? What status are they at on the process? So once we normalize that data, then we're going to insert it into our CRM. And with the data tables, sometimes people are concerned about, well, what happens if I have a duplicate? Well, you can actually run, so there's insert and update, but then you combine that to upsert. So basically, if you already have a company with the same company name, it'll just update the data that you have and kind of keep things fresh and new. So in this process, we have now gathered the data. I got our inputs. We've processed everything via this simple web search tool. And then we've cleaned it up, kind of compiled everything. And now we have stored it once again into our CRM. And that CRM looks like this. So now we have the URL, the company name, potentially a company alternate name, like if they're known for a different, let's see, there's like here, San Francisco Dentist Smile SF, but they're commonly known as Smile SF. here's why this is important. You want to make it look like you're not automating this for people, right? You want to, because whenever you do an outbound, you're going to want to make it as personable and human like as possible. And so having information, even as small as this, where your online, their official name is San Francisco Dentist Smile SF. But whenever if you were like to just go and get to know a company, they'd refer to themselves as Smile SF. And so even those small little things, this research can do a lot because it can help you find these little details that make a big difference whenever you're actually reaching out to the people of interest. Okay. All right. So yeah, kind of have all the information that we need. All those notes are beautifully placed in a column. And then we also have things, like I said, like next action, pipeline stage. So this is a new pipeline stage. You can put it in to reached out or next action, and you can kind of further automate the process if we were to go into more outreach and outbound aspects. Okay, so back to here. So we have now done our inputs, we've now done our processes, and we've enriched our ICP, we've researched the company, we've done our discovery, we know who they are, we know the offers that they're running. Now we get to play very nicely with AI. So in this case, all that data is still so cumbersome. It's so much data. I wouldn't ask somebody to go through and like read through and be able to extract relevant information for us to have a coherent conversation or a strategy outbound sequence. So we let AI do that for us. And in n8n, it's so nice to be able to give context to AI autonomously and seamlessly. Because whenever you come in here so I use Gemini. So this is an LLM node for Gemini. You come in here and, you give it a model, then you can put your prompt. And what I did for my prompt was I gave it a little bit of context, right? Like, here's what we know about the company. Here's the official name. That's Montgomery Street Dental, more commonly known as, if exists, Mont Dental Aesthetics. Like, look at that. That's a big difference. If I come in here saying, hi, for all those at the Montgomery Street Dental office, um, it's not going to sound as personable because they're like, okay, I know you just literally scraped our website and just found that as our official name. But if I come in here saying Mont Dental Aesthetics, they're like, oh, sweet, they know who I am. So you're just helping people. The biggest piece of this automation that you need to get right is, and the reason you do it is to help break the barriers and it's kind of an icebreaker. You're breaking down those walls because the moment you land in somebody's inbox or you give them a call and they're already going to have a bunch of walls and barriers placed in front of you because you're calling them as a sales call or emailing them on a cold call or you're DMing them on Instagram or LinkedIn. They're immediately not going to trust you. And so the more that you can break down these barriers and kind of make it seem like you have done your research and that you care about them enough to, I mean, even doing this is in and of itself helping it be like, hey, we are getting to know you because whenever you do get into like an actual call with them, you'll have an AI agent that can help you catch up to speed of what's going on in their company, et cetera. So yeah, biggest piece of this, the research and the discovery part is all about breaking those barriers to help them say, okay, these people know what they're doing. They know who I am. Let me listen to what they have to say. So I'm giving them official name, more commonly known as, if exists, because sometimes we will always have that information. Here's a tagline or description. Here are the service signals. And then here is, wow, very poorly typed, misspelled notes on the company. And this is just going to be more generic brain dump of what we know about the given into office. Okay. So now that our Gemini has this information, we will also, this is kind of like a precursor prompt. Then we're also going to have a system message that's going to describe a little bit more about what we hope for them to accomplish. So in my case, it was, I'm so sorry, you are a head of marketing that needs to paint a whole picture of a company so that you can compile a very custom email outbound to help sell your dental software to these dentists. So please match their tone, their voice, and help it make it super personable. We want this to be very human, so no M dashes, and make it casual yet professional. Please draft up a single email as the output. So we have now given our AI everything that needs to be successful. We've given it the raw data and we have given it the instructions of how we anticipate it performing. Now that we have that output, for purposes of display, in n8n, you can take, it's like right here, this is um, pumping this out into um, it's just giving us a little bit of JSON text. And then we are taking that and converting it into HTML. So if you look here, so this is exactly what came out. So hi, Dr. Kosh and the Mon Dental Aesthetic team. I don't even know where Dr. Kosh came from. Like I do. It came from the company notes because that's the AI was able to identify that as who the dental practitioner is. Now, obviously, in more advanced version of this, you're going to want to like verify that that's the actual dental practitioner there. And you can do that by doing a quick cross reference of like, okay, now that we have a name, let's look at them up and see. So you first get the company because that's what the raw data is. You find some doctor in that office or the doctor, dental doctor in that office or that individual at the company. And then just because that was found on some web page or some about page, you need to make sure that that's verified as the right person we're supposed to say. So it also doesn't seem like we scraped and automated this. So you're going to take that name and then you're going to cross reference it by saying, okay, now I'm going to use some other third party tool to look up this person to see where they work. And if the place that they work and the company that we're talking about match, you have the right person. If it doesn't, then in that search, you can then find the right person and then so on and so forth. But again, at a bare minimum, you just know, hey, we have found the right person because our AI dove through all of that context that we were given. And now we have a very personable email. A quick note for Dr. Kosh and the Mont Dental Aesthetic team. And it kind of goes through again, utilizing that more commonly known as term. Um, I was genuinely impressed after learning about your practice. It's evident to you and your team that true artifact architect dental treatment plans, yada yada yada. It even brought in that one offer that I was talking about. Hey, that sales that offer for your patients is such a thoughtful welcome. And this is who I am. Would you be open to a quick demo? Best regards, Tanner Woodham, head of marketing, ABC Dental Soft, and then my email. Book a 15-minute chat. And then it sends it off. Right? That could be the automation, or maybe it schedules it, or maybe you build 3 emails and you initialize a drip campaign within n8n. But again, this isn't about outbound, this is about research and discovery. Any questions up until this point, until I kind of go further on this tangent? Any questions?
Actually, I have a personal one because I saw that you use Gemini. Is there a reason for that compared to ChatGPT or Claude or another LLM?
Yeah. Uh, my personal opinion, and when it comes to formulating copy and design, etc., Gemini takes the cake, in my opinion. Um, I just find that its models perform the best when it comes to in my experience, generating um, aesthetically pleasing copy for emails and outbound. And then obviously, it's also just a very nice. Well, I use it for everything just because it has a nice image model for the suit for the Nano Banana Pro, etc. So
Yeah, and also like based on my experience, it analyzes big data sets way better
yes,
than
that was
ChatGPT.
the I did I didn't mention that, but yeah, 100. It does a very good job. Its context window is massive,
Yeah,
and it can consume large amounts of data, and that's why I do that for this kind of thing because we saw that JSON that we put in was still a lot, and
yeah,
so it still had to consume a lot of it. Yeah,
nice.
it doesn't hallucinate.
Uh,
Doesn't
yeah, like
hallucinate.
I've been trying to use ChatGPT to like analyze also big data sets, and I can see like the hallucinations. But Gemini has been really been consistent with the quality of the analysis as well.
It does.
Uh, I see no more questions in the chat, so I think yeah, we're
Perfect.
good.
Okay, good. Sweet. Um, okay. So, oh, we have a raised hand. It looks like.
But yeah, yeah, like if you raise your hand with a reaction, we said you need to type the question because yeah, I cannot put you on stage. So in case you have a question, put it in the chat. Okay,
Yeah. See if it comes. If it came through.
cool. Now I think we're gonna get Gemini more users.
Was that
Well,
was there a question about? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's a question. How can this solution be implemented in subdomain environment from n8n?
Sorry, maybe I don't understand the question. Can you say it again?
So like
Subdomain?
how can this solution be implemented in subdomain environment from n8n? I also don't know.
Subdomain. You mean like the actual subdomain of the URL?
Zohaib, maybe you
Or
can add, yeah, can you add more context in your
Mhm.
question, please?
Implement the solution is subdomain of n8n.
A personal subdomain, he said.
Are you saying like are you referring to like the actual URL? Like the actual physical subdomain URL, like a physical
Yes,
one?
he said, yeah, he
Okay.
said,
Yeah, so I mean, for instance, I have two. I have two n8n instances because I love n8n so much. So this is actually n8n.tannerwidgem.com. So same context. Um, if you're hosting it on, well, so there's three options with n8n. You can go cloud, which you cannot customize that URL. You can go self-hosted on like a cloud server, like via Hostinger or DigitalOcean. Um, and you can put your subdomain on those, or you can self-host it on your own computer, which is what I do. And earlier, I don't know if you heard the earlier comment, some people asked, I did that, but I can only get it on my local, like my local host, the 127.0.0.1. And so the solution that I came up with is you can actually tunnel using Cloudflare, or ngrok. It's a great tunneling agent. And so you can essentially what you do is the tunnel is established with Cloudflare or ngrok, and it tunnels to your local ports, and it hides that from the outside users to where it only shows your domain. So that's how I'm able to do. It's like right here, this 127.0.0.1 is the same thing as what I'm running on this n8n.ghost coded. So yes, you'll just have to do a little bit of research on how to self-host, and then how to, if you're using DigitalOcean or Hostinger, they make it very simple for you to like put your own subdomain on it. But if you're doing it on your actual computer, you'll have to look into how I actually have content for that in my community on how to like put put up through a Cloudflare or an ngrok tunnel. Good question.
And there's two more questions, like we can answer them quickly. One of them is, did you write the data normalization code yourself or with AI? And if you did with AI, can you describe briefly the prompt that you used?
Beautiful question. Never would I ever write that. Yeah, so I had Gemini take care of that. So prompt, how it works is, this is very good. So you always want to take, so for instance, right here. So we're looking at Brave's output. You go to this JSON tab. Don't copy the whole thing because that's going to break any LLM. You want to grab, these are all the same exact JSON blocks. You see that little curly brace? Look how that collapsed. These are all the exact same. They all are the exact same, um, or at least almost exact same. But essentially, you grab one of these, you copy it and say, "Hey, I have this data coming in from Brave API, and and then you copy this code and you put it in, saying, I now want you to build a data normalization script to be able to accomplish these, headings." So then you can, if you go to your data table, you can actually download this as a CSV. And so then if you give it the headings of your CSV of your table, so you got to give it the data coming in. Essentially, it's the same thing. What data is coming in, you give that to your LLM. Then you say, I want it to be processed via a code node. And then this is how it needs to look at the end of it. If you give it those three things, your AI will build, and you just tell it that you're doing it in n8n, and then it will generate the JavaScript code for you. It'll either generate the actual code node, or it'll just give you the JSON to be able to copy and paste in there. Did I answer the question?
I think so. He will let us know.
Yeah,
Last question, please suggest few AI models with low API costs, especially from image generation for testing workflows for new projects. And Ilya says, yes, you answered this question.
perfect. Um, Honestly, Gemini is very nice to be cost effective. Honestly, I've found that well, first, Claude doesn't even have an image generation model, but they're typically more expensive. Uh, uh, OpenAI, there's I haven't used it very much, but I haven't heard very good things about their image generation. So Gemini, their Nano Banana is obviously the king of the market. Like they're so good, and they're very inexpensive. And so, because like I think you can do Gemini, I would use their 2.5 Flash model. Actually, here, let's look at n8n. You can actually just go here, grab another. All my n8n users, the new update switched this little keyboard shortcut to open that and close that. They changed it to N. I don't know if anybody here has been using it long enough to have realized it used to be tab, and I keep hitting tab to get that to open up that sidebar, and now I hit N, and that's the new way, I guess. But I don't know if anybody has been using it for that long. But yeah, so Gemini, you can do uh, Google Gemini, and you can actually come in here and pick. You can do a lot with images: analyze, generate, or edit. But we can do generate image, and then you go to model. Your 2.5 Flash Nano Banana is going to be your best and cheapest model. Um, like I use Gemini 24/7 all the time, and I think my cloud bill was like $6. So very cost efficient. So yeah, Gemini 2.5 Flash.
Awesome. No more question, man. I think we also have 12 minutes. So if guys you have any more questions, like this is the time. And in case we don't have time to answer them, you can always connect with Tanner on LinkedIn and he's more than happy to, yeah, pick up the conversation there.
Absolutely. I mean, if there's no questions yet, I can just show. So this is nice and dandy. So like you can see over here, there's ways that you can run this. You can either run it manually. You can run it on a schedule. So if you want this like every Monday at 3 o'clock, you want this to run and get you new leads. Then you can also have it be executed by another workflow, and that's what I'll show you right now. So this is what I call a linear workflow. Okay, so in my realm, I break AI agents and automations into 3 buckets. There is linear workflows that are basically everything without AI. So if we literally took off this piece right here, moved it away, this is a very linear workflow because you're just hitting API endpoints, running code. There's no AI in it. Then the second bucket is AI enabled workflows, and that's what this one is. So this is linear, but you give a little bit of a LLM magic to make it that much more powerful. The final and most powerful um, bucket is the agentic automation or agentic AI. And that over here is what this one looks like. So this tool, so n8n, if you guys have already seen, is very easy to make AI agents. So you can come in here and let's grab a company. So if I come grab Montgomery, come back over here. So there's 2 ways you can access it. You can actually open the chat right here, or they allow you to have a nice little interface that you can actually customize the colors. You can say, like, tell me about Montgomery Street. Let's see if this demo works. Thinking it's a lot of data it's got to consume. Maybe middle run. I know it works over here. Whoa. We might come back. Let's try to see. I mean, I can just show you. I mean, we don't have much time. Anyways, but basically the idea is, so now you have gotten your data, you've established a pipeline to retrieve your data. That's actually not even the best part. Now you can do more deep dive and research and discovery off the data you pulled, because you can literally say, hey, tell me about OpenCare. OpenCare is listed in CRM, and then it says, this is the detail that I found. These are the alternative name, tagline, all the information. I want to draft an intro email to one of the dentists. Can you help me draft a concise 3 to 5 sentence intro, putting some personal touch to it? And then boom, dear Dr. Benjamin, what's this nice touch? I say, hey, make it sound more human, down to earth, and like we are friends. Hey, Dr. Benjamin, hope you're having a great week. Kind of goes into a little bit of a better tone. I say, hey, no M dashes, it takes it away. Then I say, I'm about to hop on a call. This is one of the coolest pieces. I'm about to hop on a call with them. and I'm trying to sell them our dental software. Can you please give me some bullet points that I can address that will help me along the sales process, like some talking points? This is really, I use this all the time. For me, I get worried because I'm like, oh man, I don't, what am I going to say when I first start out with them? So these, I can literally say, based off of all that information, all that data that you have in the background, give me some icebreakers and give me some talking points that I can have to begin our conversation in my efforts to sell them this dental software. Perfect. So let's acknowledge their success. Oh, cool. What they do. Sweet. So, Dr. Benjamin, I'm so impressed that Mariana Tooth, Perry Dental Reputation's got 20 years of trusted care. Um, Efficiency for high volume with your extended hours, kind of talking about those different things. Anyways, it goes on. It gives you a bunch of these talking points. It even gives you some questions of like, um, I'm curious how you currently track key metrics for growth and patient retention. Our platform provides valuable insights into practice performance, helping you make data-driven decisions to continue your success. Anyways, so it can go through and analyze all the things that you have on there and give you some very detailed, customized, and personable talking points whenever you actually like. Not only is it email or calling, it's also you're like on a discovery call. You can do some research on the company beforehand to gather information and have a little bit more to talk about. So I'll pause there. I'll open the floor up to Q&As on research, discovery, n8n in general. There's been a lot of those good questions. What you guys got?
Awesome, man. Like lots of cool stuff. Also for me, like I was inspired with few more ideas. So thanks a lot, man, for this demo.
Of course, absolutely. Been fun.
Uh, Guys, if you have any questions for Tanner, make sure to drop them in the chat. We have one here. Is it possible to get one of your templates to play around with, like the dentist one? Yes. Tanner
Mhm.
shared that one with me, and we're gonna share it with you guys along the recordings early next week.
Yep. I dropped in there. So there's both of these workflows will be in there. Um, and both of the data tables as well with the actual data. So you'll be able to play around and mess around with that kind of stuff as well.
Nice. So if you happen to be a dentist, like that's a gold mine.
Yeah, right. Hey, if you were using a dental software, I just basically give you your outbound strategy. You're welcome.
Exactly. For free.
For free.
And just a small reminder that we have upcoming courses when it comes to agentic workflows and system, n8n, Cloud Code. So yeah, we have 7 upcoming courses, 12 sessions from June to September, covering different things from content creation to SEO to ads to vibe coding apps, you name it. Yeah, the prices will increase after May 1st. So make sure if you wanna get them beforehand. I'm gonna share the link in the chat as well. Any more questions for Tanner? I think you answered a lot of questions, man. And thanks a lot, man. It was awesome.
Of
I think
course.
we ended the whole week on a high note, in my opinion. It was a long
I'm glad.
one, and hopefully we can host you for future sessions. Like we can maybe tackle different marketing use cases. That was pretty
Would love to.
cool. And yeah, man, I hope you enjoy the weekend.
Okay. Sweet. Well, thank you everybody for coming along. It was great meeting y'all.
Awesome. Bye, everyone. Take care.